Give me a sec. I'm attaching my camera.
Oh yeah, all good. Take your time.
I mean, I have a camera on my laptop, but I never use it. It's so blurry.
Right? Yeah, I know. I gotta start. It's like I feel like Yuki in this matter because like I have a camera that I can hook up to my computer as well, and I just haven't practiced or done it yet. So maybe one day.
I know, right? I kind of want to go outside. I think I'm gonna go outside.
Yeah, I was considering that too. It just wind keeps picking up here, and
Oh, it's
so
12:34.
yep, yeah. Oh my.
That's my number. It's been my number for a little while, and I would just write it down, but I didn't really know why. Like I just, you know what I mean? Like,
That's usually how it starts.
well, first I said reminder, like, oh, it's a reminder, and then I'm like, okay, a reminder of what? So then I try to think of like what like I was thinking or saying at the time.
Right.
Uh, Flip, it's hot out here. Shit. And then no, there's kind of a breeze. Okay. And then the other day I sat with it and I was like, wait a minute. It's 12:34. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm like, alignment.
Yeah,
So I was like, there we go. That's immediately what came to me. So I'm like, I'm gonna go with that. Okay. Hopefully you can see me. Okay, cool.
there you
Phew. There we
go.
are. So yeah, so I saw it. Yeah. It's great. Like today is literally like insane, but not in a derogatory sense.
Well, that's good.
Like in a
Oh, my cat knows we're talking. Here she comes. Meow, meow,
oh,
meow, meow,
kitty,
meow,
kitty,
meow.
kitty,
She's
kitty.
Bye.
That usually happens. I've always been called like the cat whisperer.
Yeah, I know she hears your voice and then instantly she comes. It's funny.
Oh. I was just talking to Ashley actually today about cats and stuff because she was like, well, she was talking about cats and like she's not able to trap this one cat or whatever. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, I used to have an animal rescue. I was like, we'll chat because that's all we used to do is like rescue dogs and fix cats and stuff. And but anyways, we were talking about more. Like it's just interesting, like the stuff that I've noticed, because obviously when I was doing that, I wasn't in the spiritual space at all. Um, like I was good at it, but I like didn't understand, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And and now I'm like I totally get it. Like I totally it all makes sense now. Because like
that's
I
awesome.
like and not just me, but like everybody. Like I used to literally sit with like they do it with dogs, but I do it with like cats. But like you literally just chill. Like they'd get to know you, like your presence and your energy and stuff. And then like eventually they would literally that's kind of what I was telling her. I was um like just have her like feel your energy. Like even if she won't let you pet her, like you can't nothing. Even if you're outside and she's like all the way across the yard, like just something to where you know what I mean, and just keep and just sit there, like just chill. I would literally just sit there, wouldn't look at her or the animal, and I would just literally just chill. And I did that with my newest Charlie. I would just sit outside literally on the ground like a cat, like a dog, and I would just sit there. Wouldn't pay no attention to him. I would just chill because then they feel your energy and then the more and more and then they feel safe. But that's aside. I could talk about animals for like ages, but like yesterday like I literally felt something shift. And it's funny because as many times as you've said that, I was like, "Oh, that's so cool." But then in the back of my head, I'm like, "What does that mean?"
What does
Like,
that feel like? That
right,
was the
right,
biggest
exactly. I was
thing
just
for
gonna
me. Like,
say,
what does that
intellectually,
actually feel like? Because I know
yeah,
that I've said it a lot, but now it's like an energetic force. Like, there's like a
yeah, yeah,
literal
yeah,
feeling that comes with it. And
yeah,
so it doesn't feel like, it was like a comment just rang in my head, like, fake it till you make it, And
yeah,
it's like,
100%, 100%. And
uh,
I'd go with Rustin to AA meetings and stuff, and it was like, and I'd be like, okay, this is me faking it, like But like I understood what you were saying, like I understood it, but because I hadn't because I wasn't feeling it, I was like, what does she mean? Right. And again, like you could have told me and the words would have entered into my brain, but it wasn't. So yesterday was kind of like interesting because I went through like so many different emotions because I was in the like it was done when I woke up. And then his energy was there and I was like, nope, doesn't matter, like it's good. But then I also wanted to kind of like help him, so like talk to him, and then it wasn't like none of it was resonating. And I pulled out all the stops, like stuff Yuki would say, stuff you would say, stuff, right? Like all these different avenues of trying to like come from like a different angle, and it was like nothing was permeating. And then I was like, and then you told me too, when you're like, well, just maybe back off, not only for him, but also for yourself. And I was like, yeah, I had already been kind of thinking about that. Like, let's just kind of do your own thing. Like whatever. And then, so I kind of did. And then I think it was right before the call. Was it before the call or was it after? I think it was actually after. And then he was like, well, I think I need to do something fun. I'm going to go outside and play basketball. And I was like, okay. And then all of a sudden I was like, well, I've done did it. I absorbed your shit.
Oh
And then
no.
like I wasn't angry, but I was like, oh my God, I gotta look for a job, like all this stuff, right? So when the like is done to like getting emotional and like then I was like, okay, let's create a plan. Like and then I was in like that whole like um the Bob Proctor, 3 million, 3 days, 3 ways, whatever kind of thing. Like, all right, let's brainstorm. Let's set it up, right? Looking up stuff. And then we went and watched the New Thinking Habit together. I usually go to bed like latest like 10. It was like midnight. I was like literally laying on the bed listening to Yuki talk about the New Thinking Habit. And then when he drew out the whiteboard of like the 4D was the mind and then the 3D was the body and like the connection between the two. And I already knew this, but I'm a very visual person, so I was like, holy shit. And then at one point, like I was crying, and then I just sat there and I was like, I just felt almost like if you're like insanely dirty and like a waterfall or something, just like shoot, and like all the it's the only way I can describe it, but it just like something just ran through me, like whew. I was like, holy shit. I was like, I think this is what she's talking about. Because it all and like all of that went away, like all the crying and like the all that stuff. And then I was like, I'm just gonna go to bed. Like you know, and I woke up today and well, throughout the night I kept because we got a proposition for actually I don't know if I want to say it on the recording.
Yeah, no, yeah, you can wait and talk about that
Okay.
after. And
But anyway, so
yeah,
I was like, well, now I have to like step into this role of what I'm doing in Yuki's group. Like, obviously I was already doing that, but like I had already been messaging people, and that's why
yeah,
I talked about the study group for me, June 4th. It wasn't like June 4th, asteroid hits Earth. It's like the study group is like where I'm like literally taking on this new role, and that's the embodiment of like that new identity. And at least that's what June 4th was for me that I had thought about. But like last night I was like, okay, so this proposition, like this is gonna like set in motion now, like shit's real. And
yeah.
so I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready. And then I remember like Michael, and I've heard before too, like our other mentor was like, these people make decisions quickly. And it's not about like quick, you have to make a decision, but it's like when that decision comes up, it's like, what are you doing? Who are you being? And I'm like, shit. So I was like, go, click. And then I was like, oh no, uh-oh. Like now I got but like in a good way. Like and I felt, the whole like and I was literally, I'm not even kidding you, just like a few days ago, I was talking to my daughter about like change and like growth. And she's like, well, it's scary. And I'm like, no, it's not scary. It's uncomfortable. I'm like, there's a difference. And I
Hmm.
was like, but that is where we all change. So I'm giving her all this stuff, which is true. And then here it comes upon me, and I'm like, shit, now I know what I was just talking about. But like, the growth, like it is uncomfortable because you're shifting and stuff. And so like I just woke up with like this energy of like it is done. And then like I was messaging people this morning from like a totally different energy and like just going through the group, and it was just I don't know, it's just wild like to just be. And it's like everything's changed. Who is that Pia that said last night? Like everything changed yet nothing changed.
Yeah,
So if somebody were to come look at our lives, they'd be like, "Oh, same." but
Yeah.
like
And
inside.
that's how and I think I've been stuck in that kind of energy for so long at this point
Yeah,
that I'm
yeah,
like, well, but I think it's forcing me to surrender, surrender the outcome, surrender what it
yeah,
looks like, because it's like I've been sitting in the energy of it is done. My emotional state is different. How I respond to people is different. How I feel in general about the world and
yeah,
what conscious creation is totally different. So to look around and still be the same in the exact same
mhm,
spot with when I had all these expectations, all these ambitions, all of this like expectation of where I was going to be at this time from last year.
yeah,
And the only thing that's different is me.
yeah,
And to be okay with that took a minute, I would say. Like it took some meditation, it took some, but again, like I have control issues, and not for like other people and like, my expectations of, what other
yeah, yeah.
people are or whatever, but expectations control over like, when I was told I was a conscious creator, the instant was like, I'm in control.
Yeah, 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 for sure. Mm-hmm. 100
I was still wrong.
personal creation. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fall into that. And I think that's probably the number one most challenging part is to keep that. Because when people have those instant manifestations that are just like boom, 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 then it's easy. You're like, woo, but to have literally nothing, like
Yeah.
nothing on the outside, you know what I mean? That's like, hey, good job. And I don't mean
Yeah.
people saying good job, but like, you know,
Me. Yeah.
and to
Yeah.
stay in that, just like the videos talk about. And I've actually been watching more.
So have I. I took
Don't
a
tell
break.
Yuki, but no, I'm just playing.
Yeah.
Because, but this is the thing is like, it's each one, I feel like almost like is calling to what's like the energy in which I'm at that day. Just like
Yeah.
Yuki. I was talking to Lynn and she was like, I said, um, I was like, whatever that day, like I was actually gonna ask a question and then he answered it and Rustin's like, don't you have a question? And I'm like, he literally just said it. He just
Yeah.
answered what I was gonna ask, but because he's
The
connected
song.
to us.
The song killed me. Yesterday the
I know.
song killed me. I'm like, why did you I couldn't help it. I was like
I
restrained. I was like,
know.
why? Like, why did you pick this
Hmm.
song? Like, why?
Hmm.
Like
Yep,
like
because
that
you had a
tricked me
dream.
like
And I loved his answer though when he was like, because you had a dream
because you
about
had a dream about it. Yeah.
it. I mean, for real though, like because I mean that's all part of it, like I think, and that's why, um, like I said the other day, I was power washing my driveway, and like I was just gonna listen to the one, and I
Yeah.
had my earbuds in, and my phone was far away, and it just went to the next one, and I was
Yeah.
like, whatever, I'm doing something, I'm not gonna change it, and it was like literally talking to me, like, hey, da da da, and I was like, what? Because putting it together with what Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about, like the body and the physiology, like all that stuff lives there, right? And then when he talked about that, and then yesterday watching Yuki's thing, he talks about the 4D, the body, and then I was like, God, this makes so much sense. Like, and then what the one quote that he says is, you can't manifest from a place of inner war. And I was like, holy
Yeah.
shit, because I find so many people doing this. And I recognize it now because I recognize it myself of like the whole like, and I'm not into like, the nervous system, the EFT and all that stuff like that, but like at least recognizing that it's there. Because if you're doing
Yeah.
all that going, I am healthy, I'm wealthy, I'm rich, I'm da da da, like it's literally doesn't it's just shit. You know what I'm saying? Like because of that inner, like you said, the inner war. And I was like, damn it.
So here, and this is kind of where and this is where I understand how much of a role the ego actually plays. Because when I was in pain, when I was taking the medication that shut down my memory, shut down my focus, took away my thought process, I couldn't hold conversations. Like literally, I was a shell. Like there was like no thinking going on inside. Like the lights were on, but nobody was home.
Yeah.
But whenever I would think I need this, it would show up at my doorstep. No delay. Like I wanted a rock cutter. 2 days later, there was a rock cutter abandoned that ran like in a garbage pile, like 100 feet away, right? Like, I mean, or people would show up. We don't see people for months, and all of a sudden, two people would show up and be like, "Oh, I got this for you, and I got that for you,"
Wow.
and I'm just like, but how? I don't know
Yeah.
you. I didn't tell you what I needed, and here it is. Um, we lost his phone in no service. His charger thing didn't work on it. It was lost in the rainforest in no service in rainy season. We went back, looked for it, couldn't find it. A guy, I did a to be real, like I did it from a spell book, but I did the spell, and I know like with spells, it's all just about knowing the worded intentions, right? So I did the spell and appealed to Saint Anthony to find his cell phone. Not even 2 days later, a guy calls and says, "I have your cell phone," and we're like, "But how?
Wow.
And how did it work?" He's like, "Well, I
Yeah.
found it in a puddle. I cleaned it out, and it turned on after I charged it." And we're like, "Well, I'll be a monkey's uncle." Right?
Wow.
So, like, and that was like right at the beginning of this journey. Like my pain had just lifted. We had literally just left the Squamish. We weren't even living in service full time yet. Like we were living on the other side
Yeah.
of the mountain. Like for the cell phone to just show up after 2 days of setting the intention to bring it back to me with no expectations, did the spell, let it go to the universe. So I can recognize how this all works. And that's why when I got further into this and not seeing my manifestations take place the way that I watched them happen, just
Mm-hmm.
like and being able to recognize that, but still not be able to actually get back to where I was in that state until now. And I say until now because because 3 days ago. Okay, well, guess when did I find the gold star? That was yesterday.
Yeah.
So there's still a little delayed. I had done a spell, or not a spell, a manifestation technique from this fucking beautiful person I found on TikTok. I'll actually share her too. I've saved a couple of her videos. I'll share them to Rustin because she's like, I don't know, I love her energy. Like I could see her being like friends with us because of just her energy, and she's just,
Oh.
I don't know, I'm so like strucken by her. I don't know, it's was stricken
Mm-hmm.
by her. So weird. But anyways, I did the manifestation technique. Now I've done it twice, and it was one that I kind of told you about where I asked for like a color and then a number kind of thing, but
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I did a different one with her. And it was basically
Keep
um
just moving inside. I'm listening.
oh, okay. I was like, I hope you know your camera turned off. But yeah, okay, perfect. Um so basically it's like she has like a saying that she uses where it's like, universe, please show me a sign, one that'll stand out to me, one that matters to me, one that makes sense. And do it within the next 24 hours to show me that you're listening, one that's going to make sense to me and blow me away, and just make and be so much fun. And I looked at this star on the pool floor, and as little as it felt, almost in that moment, that it was still going to be on the floor when I got back to it. And picked up the star, and like I said, as it dried, the stickiness came back, and now it's on the back of my phone. And I know that there's people on this planet that would be like, "Oh, well, that's nothing, and how can you look at that as a sign?" But the yellow color that I picked is for something really big that I am wanting. And so I'm like, to find a gold star on the pool, on the pool, on the walkway of the pool, and it was more golden yellow, right? So it's really much in the yellow. Um, all of the nines that have been appearing for the other manifestation, and these aren't new ones. Like this goes in alignment with everything. Like I didn't pick new manifestations. I didn't pick something way outside the box of whatever that I hadn't been asking and wanting and visualizing and doing all the things for. But it was just worded in a different way, just put in a different way, separate from it, but still in alignment with everything else that I'm looking to create, build, and continue, or to continue. Not, it's already been created. It's just now just, again, holding that energy of it is done. And to get that gold star where it was, it's still being there in a kids' play section for me to walk up to and pick up. It may not have felt like it's something huge to somebody else, but it made sense to me. And it made me smile because I don't
Yeah,
know the last
100%.
time that I ever got a gold star. Yeah.
Well, not only that, but the fact of like if you wear a sticker just on your hand, like that shit is like not sticky in like a matter. My kids have stickers all and they're just fall off, or from
Yeah.
the ground or whatever. And the fact that it was like in the water, like that's you can't
Yeah.
make that up. You know what I mean?
I do. And yeah, so it's just that really put me in, I don't know, an energy of really knowing the actual like energy signatures, the vibrations happening. Like even like just right now, like I feel like this big energy just kind of swirling around my neck and my head, and
Mhm.
it's consistent now. It's not like it's coming and going. It's really consistent. And it's so funny because like you keep saying that you've woken up and felt like it is done. And I can honestly say that I've been saying that a lot, and I know that the energies are shifting and feeling stronger and in alignment, but I believe that it is done. But do I really feel that it is done yet? I don't
Mhm.
know. There's the ultimate knowing that I don't have to believe. And I think again
Yeah.
that's part of them guiding me to surrender, because the
Yeah.
knowing that it is done for me, I don't know if it'll ever have a feeling other than opening my eyes one day and having that blast of everybody signed up, and you
Yeah.
got like 100 people waiting for readings,
Yeah.
um and the readings I've been giving have felt different lately as well. They have felt better connected. I don't feel glitchy or out of sync. And I had kind of quit giving like regular readings for a while. Like honestly, the ladies in the group that I've read for are the first three real like readings. And then I went to a girl that I'd never met before and did a reading for her and ended up giving her a whole lot of like channeled messages. And then I realized that like something that I had come up to me before was that like your energy activates people. Your energy, you don't, without even saying words, your energy is shifting for people, what they need to be shifted. And when you allow that energy to come back to you, you're also shifting for you as well. So I've been sitting in that a lot in this last few days as well, in knowing that just being present is why the people are coming my way, just by being me. Those statements are resonating, and I'm feeling that more, that like they're like, you don't have to do more than you're doing enough, you're listening. And that was something I wrote a piece. Okay, so I've been trying to write on Medium for the last weeks, like since the new moon, where I write my pieces, and I wrote two and had them disappear. Like one of them deleted completely, don't know what happened to it. The other one kept telling me somebody else was editing it, and I'm like, I'm only on one device on this, with this app. There's no way that somebody else is editing. And I couldn't even copy it to hold on to it to post it again. And so I don't understand. And then it was the new moon. And the new moon and the message that came through was stop doing. Like don't do. Like do nothing. You're gonna be present in the not doing. Well, my body twitched, my brain twitched, everything about me said do. And I'm like, not gonna do. When I tried to do, I didn't do because because it disappeared. And so today I actually wrote a piece on Medium about sitting in the not doing. And I'll post it on Facebook, and I don't have it in front of me, but I saved it in, actually, now that I say that, my thing is going to end up deleting this soon. So I'm going to see if I'm going to actually pull it up right now. Um,
When did you write it? What you said?
just this morning.
Oh, okay. Because I think I told everybody or whatever that, or I think I've shared that I'm writing a book, but like I don't write like consistently. Like I write whenever I get like the hit. So sometimes, I mean, it'll be months where I don't write anything, and it had been. And last night, it was like, go write. And I'm like, shit, okay. So I wrote like this whole, and it was just like, brrr, like my fingers couldn't even keep up. So it was just interesting. That's why I asked, because I'm like, ooh, I wonder if we were like writing at the same time. But this
Well,
was
yeah,
last night.
and I
This
write
was
all the
like
time.
closer to like
Like
11.
I
Really?
really do. Yeah, I write all the time. I don't know, my phone just glitched, but
See, I go back and forth. Like I actually, I have this journal that I bought, our last mentorship program. Like they were like, make sure you have a journal, like not just for notes, but like journaling and like whatever, whatever. And so I bought it, and like it's hit or miss. Some days, like I'm literally journaling every single day. I'm writing, and then there's gaps where like I'll go like weeks without writing. I
there was
did
months
today,
for me
but
as well. There was months for me as well where I didn't journal, and I go, but lately, like for this last year and a half, it's been like ultimately consistent, especially with when it comes to my dreams, when I can remember them and that kind of thing. But like my pieces on Medium have been coming more and more often. I'm gonna start blogging again. I was blogging, but deleted it all when I deleted my last website, so I'm gonna start blogging again. But this is kind of what came through. Its action isn't what we think it is in the constructs of our human mind. When you sit with your intuition, action becomes the knowing that whatever comes to you in the moment of silence between restless thoughts is the true version of action you are meant to be taking.
wow,
And that felt like really, really
I actually
powerful.
really like that.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
for sure. Yeah, it's in the quiet. Yeah, and I've yeah, that's wow, 100%. Yeah,
Because
because
it's like
people
we
think
have our,
taking action is what, like just
well, you got
do.
10x Grant Cardone. Oh, I see my camera turned off.
Yeah.
I,
I thought you knew
like,
that.
no, it must have did that when I went to Facebook. That's probably what made everything glitch.
Yeah.
Um, like you got Grant Cardone, who, like, I mean, is, yes, a successful millionaire, and I mean, and he came back from like the confines of being homeless and all of those things, and he just 10x everything, like everything that he took his actionable hits on, he just 10x it, like that's why it's
Yeah.
Grant, that's why he has his 10x thing, because like
Yeah.
everything that he does, he just 10x's everything. And so like there's that attitude, which I mean has got him far, like in 10xing, like if you're posting once a day, post 10 times a day, you
Yeah.
know. But then if you go into the more, and even in Russell Brunson, he was more about animating everything. He created everything, put it into webinars, videos, and just started selling and reselling the videos, which is kind of like the more passive but way to be present everywhere without having to be present everywhere. So that's what I've
Yeah.
been doing, is doing the lives, leaving them posted for 30 days and sharing them like infrequently or whatever, and just putting myself out there, putting like that the postings on TikTok, postings on YouTube, and not 10xing it, because you got like even the FTP crew, they're like, well, it was like fake it till you make it, and just I got the
Yeah.
hit to go live on YouTube every day. I'm like, I'm not, every time I think about going live, I get sick to my stomach. And I love going live. It's got nothing to do with fear.
Interesting.
It's literally my body telling me you need to surrender. You need to stop
Mm.
doing. You need to believe and trust. Like, you know how this works. You've seen how this works when you send off things to the universe and you stop thinking about them 24/7, about when are they going to come? What do I do need? Am I missing something? Should I be doing something more?
Yep.
And you can take yourself into the silence in between the space of the thoughts of your mind and listen for what comes through there. If it says, have a coffee, go have a goddamn coffee. You want a
Yeah,
$7 matcha?
100%.
Go have a $7 matcha. Like those, and that's what like really hit home today when I wrote that, because I was like, it was kind of, it came through in one of the quantum shift videos. Jan said it to Yuki, and Yuki's like, there's no quiet time, there's no not thinking. And it's just like, then I seen Yuki's stuck point. Like, find the space between the thoughts,
Yeah.
and listen to the whispers that you're missing, because that's where the ultimate knowing comes from. And then I'm the my new friend that I met recently and been helping, not on her she's not looking for her purpose work. She's trying to figure out her gifts, because she
Mm.
made her soul contract, had her gifts turning on, and this is like her third or fourth lifetime where she's actually recognized her gifts and utilized them and had them turn on. But this time she thought that if she had them turned on, because her higher self, of course, being the construct behind all of that, um that they can come on hard and fast, and that her human state was going to be fine with it. She's like, I'm not so fine with it. you know
Mm.
so guiding her back to her higher self and saying, you have a purpose for this, like your gifts are important for whatever your purpose is moving forward. I'm like, I can't tell you what that is. I can align you with that. I can guide you through
Yeah.
my program and get you to a point where you just naturally align. And then we step into that remembrance part. You're remembering who you are. You're remembering why you chose these gifts and why they came on so strong.
Yeah.
I'm like, but they're saying that one day soon you're just going to wake up and it's going to be like they were never not present in your life. Like you are going to
Mm.
recognize where they were throughout your life up until now, but now they're just solidly like turned on state for you to use them to align with your soul's purpose and actually,
Yeah.
make changes and change people's lives the way that you chose to come to do in this lifetime.
Yeah.
Because she's like, I don't want to take your program because I just want to get used to these gifts and I'm not, I don't feel aligned with that yet. And then I'm like giving her a reading and they're like showing me this book. And I'm like, why are you showing me a book? And they're like, your program. And I'm like, she doesn't want to take the program. Like, don't force the girl to take something she's not ready for. And they're like, just listen. And I'm like, but I'm like, show me something different than a book. And it was a book of
Yeah.
life, book of her life. And the fact that
Mm.
she's so wrapped up right now in learning her gifts that she's not recognizing that there is a soul purpose behind it. And, so to just gently nudge her in the direction. And I was like, okay, I understand. But it took me a minute to get there because I was like, all they kept showing me was this book. And I'm like, why are you showing me a book? I'm like, I don't understand. So
I actually literally typed already twice today. Uh, remembrance of who you are, remembering of who you are, something along the same lines, who
Pia
you
said it
are and what you're
yesterday.
called here. I've literally said it twice or typed it twice today.
Yeah, and Pia said it yesterday about
Yeah.
remembrance, and that's when I said I was like two things. I love like why the song, like why the song,
Yeah.
like what called you to play the song, like that one really like. I'm like, it's the song, and I'm trying to turn off my headphones to let Brandon hear, and then I couldn't think of it what it was called, and so I had to go back
Jumps
into
to Jupiter.
Googling Drops of Jupiter, yeah, but not by
Yeah.
train, by somebody else, but
Yeah, that's why I didn't recognize it because when you said it, I was like, because I heard it, right? Like I heard the
yeah,
song, but it wasn't registering because I'd never heard that version. So then when you
yeah,
said
me
it, I was
neither.
like, wait, what? And then I'm like, oh, it is. But
Like my brain was
they'd have
like.
played it by train, I would have immediately caught on.
And that was the weirdest thing because my brain's like, you know the song, right? Like it was like it wasn't my voice. It was like just a whisper of, what
Yeah.
song he's playing. And I'm just like, and it takes me back to that 24 hours. Show me a sign, a big
Yeah.
sign of
Hmm.
like that my manifestations are coming. And he
Yeah.
plays Train, Drops of Jupiter by somebody else. I didn't even ask who it was by. I didn't even
Yeah.
care at that point. I'm like, why'd you pick the
Yeah.
song?
That's
Tell me
so
why you
funny.
picked this song. I'm
That's
like,
so funny.
I'm like, I can't. I'm like beside myself right now. Like I tripped right out. I'm like, no, no freaking way. I'm like, if the
Yeah.
gold star didn't get me, fucking that song took me to another level.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
And then
I
Pia
know.
talking about it. So
And I love that like that we share all this stuff throughout the day because it's like I don't need it, right? Like because I know like we don't need signs, whatever, but like it's helpful to stay in the energy, if that makes sense. Because when your
100%.
husband's like, oh, the fan always does that, or like, oh, that was whatever, what you know what I mean? Like, and I know he's
Or
not
he
trying to
gets into
downplay it.
his
That's just where
or
he's
he
at,
gets
which is
into his
fine.
human. Or he gets into his
Yeah.
human. Like the
Yeah.
energy
Yeah.
yesterday. Like honestly, like it broke my heart yesterday
I know.
seeing him like that. And but it made me laugh. And it took him a year to get to where it took me 3 months to get to. Because
Yeah.
the first 3 months of this journey, marketing, like I told you, marketing was my
Yeah.
thing. That's what I was going to
Yep.
do. I was going to market and build websites for people.
Yep.
within 3 months. I don't even think it took me 3 months. A month and a half, and I hated it. And a month and a half
Yep.
later, I was following my like inner guidance to take
Yep.
different paths and whatever. So I'm like, um, yeah, yeah. I was just like, oh my goodness, right? And so when he's like, I fucking hate marketing.
I know. And Yuki was so shocked. He's like, "What? Really?"
And then there
But
was me.
but
I was howling because I was like, oh, he finally figured it out.
I know. And it was kind of fun, like not funny in the moment, obviously for me, but it's just because I'm here
Well,
like
you did
literally
though.
beside him. But like,
You did, but you found as soon as he said it, you laughed. You did find the
yeah.
humor in it. Like there was
Well,
the
not only
smile.
that, because there was a couple times I was trying to like, I was kind of going like this because I didn't want to laugh because I get, whatever. But like what he said, and I forgot like the exact like verbiage, but basically like everything that we know, right? It's like when you get sober, you know what I mean? And you've been drinking or whatever, whatever for so long. And then you're like, you make a decision, you're like, that's it. I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to do whatever, right? And then the ego and the body and everything is like, hey, we're going to vomit. We're going to be sick. We're going to like da 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 da, right? And the ego. And then you're like, oh, see, this is why I drink, right? Or whatever, right? To reaffirm like this, but that's that moment when we have to make a decision, right? And I think that's where it was because what he was talking about is like this and this and that and that. And I'm like, dude, that's that inner war, right? Like that's happening right now. And that's that moment when you have to be like, shut up. Like literally, like I was telling him on the couch yesterday because he was like going off like, oh, I don't want to work from home. This sucks. I'd rather be like all this stuff, right? And I'm like, that's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie.
You
Like
didn't
literally,
say
like, right,
nothing to you that day.
like literally, yeah, like not to him, but
No,
like
no, no.
because I was
Yeah,
like, dude, come on. I was like, no. I was like, and I just played all the scenarios and he kind of was like, all right. And I'm like, do you see what I'm saying? But like, it's that moment like of self-definition when the ego is just like raging because you've made a decision to do something else. And it's like,
the
abort,
cellular
abort,
memory.
abort.
Yeah,
Like,
the cellular memory. I've been controlling this ship for so
yep,
long. This is my ship. What are you doing? Why are you
yep,
taking away my ship? Why are you taking away
exactly,
my control? Why? Why?
exactly.
Why am I not
Oh,
in
my eyes are
control
itchy.
anymore? Why is it not mine? Yeah, this is
Yeah,
mine. This is my ship. I've been controlling this ship. Who are you to take this control of the helm? Like you're almost a
yeah.
visitor. You almost in this the start of this, you almost feel like a visitor in your body.
Give me one sec. But
Sure, of course.
my son's friends are like literally always at the door. Hey, you know, Jackson could have went. You know, literally anywhere. He could literally be anywhere. Maybe Owen? Okay. Yeah, possibly. Yeah, it's just kind of just door to door. Oh no, he was with Rafe. Well, maybe try there first. Okay. Yeah. All right. We'll see ya. Bye. He's sweet. He's
So
like, do you know where he could be? And I'm like, literally anywhere.
anyway, right?
I mean, they just go to each
Yep.
other's houses. Um,
So
yeah.
I just had three cards fly out. I was shuffling my one deck because like I haven't because I know we talked about it. So this was like the soul truth
Oh, yeah, so
self-awareness
beautiful.
card deck. Okay. So the first one that flipped, like, what if it was easy?
Ooh.
Okay. So it's like it doesn't have to be hard. Call in the universe, the stars, the angels, and all their powers. Find the solution. Would you take the next step if it were easy? It's time to expect ease, call in grace, and receive guidance. You are supported. Today's soul action. List 10 possible ideas for your soul's current calling. Lean into ease. It's here. You just have to say yes to it.
Wow. That
Okay.
is like hit me in the forehead at a bullseye.
Okay. So these just wait, it didn't stop there.
Oh gosh.
Um, what passion am I ready to pursue?
Wow.
All right. Your passions will continually lead you to your purpose. What passions have you put to the side, given up on, or buried? What passion is ready to come alive in you? Write a list of the passions to
Mm.
which you want to give life right now. Then journal how you can incorporate more of what you are passionate about into your daily life. Trust your soul's whispering and let your passions draw you towards your dream life. The last time I pulled that card, it pulled me back to writing because I do have a book written already. Plus, I'm writing a book to go with my I'm just taking all of my transcripts and journals and putting them into a book, and I'm going to sell it for $7.77 for my program. And just another way to get my program out there, because it's not going to have the access to me. It's not going to have all the extras. It's not going to have the group or the extra
Yeah.
meditations or anything like that. It's legit just the basics of the program. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to put it out there in e-file and
Yeah.
777, see what happens.
Wow.
So I'm working on that this week because I'm on module 5, which is chapter 5. And so I got 15 more to go, but I was also kind of waiting on Shannon's, but she says she's going to have that done by Sunday, which is amazing, and stuff like that. And then my favorite, because like Brandon's come a long way, but I find he still gets really judgy about people, and like, especially if somebody makes a bad like judgment call in driving. Like driving for bad for both of us. We're both very judgy in the driving. So, but I found that I'm very quick to, even if there is a judgment on something somebody says or something somebody does, it's like, oh, they were having a bad day. Oh, like they're
Mm-hmm.
not dumb, they're just having a hard time,
Yeah.
They're not a bad
Yeah.
driver, they're just having a bad day. Like, I feel like that's still like a big almost test or contrast for me to see where I've come and gotten to with how I
Mm-hmm.
feel. So this one is from whom can I release judgment right now? And it says
Mm.
judgment closes our heart to truth and separates us from love. It binds us to our fear and holds us in shame. On whom are you placing judgment right now? Is it someone in your life? Is it yourself? Release the shackles, drop the expectations, and be grateful for what is. Look at the person you are judging as if you were looking at a small child. See them learning and growing, falling down and making mistakes. See their desire to love and to be loved and accepted. Add even more grace to open your heart to this truth. When I lift the judgment from myself and others, I uncover my own truth. I am loved, I am whole, I am limitless, and so are they.
Mm. Wow.
Yeah. That's why I was just like, just wait, can't make this shit up.
Wow. Yeah, that one makes sense. That one makes sense too.
Oh, and I have to go back to yesterday's card because I kind of pulled it thinking about you.
Mm-hmm.
It resonated with me, and I know it'll resonate with you too.
Oh, I'm
In fact,
sure.
it wouldn't even let me pull a card this morning. I opened the book to find I did just realize this. I didn't shuffle my cards this morning. I was literally just drawn to open my book to a page. That was because if I would have shuffled the cards, I would have had to look for it. So this is the lion.
Wow.
So this is Yeshi Yao. And it's the card number 33, and it's
Of course.
333. Okay. So as
Wow.
I said, I was thinking about you when I was pulling the
Oh
cards.
my gosh.
And this wasn't actually yesterday. I think that was the day before yesterday. I actually meant to send that to you yesterday. And obviously it was meant to come up today. So it's called, so I'll find the actual way to say that. So Yeshi Sog Yal. I feel very southern saying that. You shall overcome all obstacles. Success is imminent, so stay connected to your path no matter what and continue to apply yourself. Allow your spiritual path to support you in all areas of your life. Live by your spiritual beliefs. Seek out support of your spiritual brothers and sisters for help when needed, but also trust that you are intimately and directly connected to the powerful divine light within. There can be a dramatic healing breakthrough when you rely upon your spiritual connection. The spiritual teachings from Bhutan hold that the great Indian master Padmasambhava was called to Bhutan from Tibet to subdue demons that were causing difficulties for the people of the Paro Valley. He flew from Tibet to Bhutan on the back of a supernatural tigress, landing at a cave high up in the cliffs of Bhutan. He spent the next 3 years, 3 months, 3 weeks, and 3 days meditating and performing rituals to subdue the demons of the land, liberating Bhutan from the terror into peace. The supernatural tigress is believed to have been Yashi Sogal, a yogini guardian for humanity and an emanation of the compassionate goddess of peace, prosperity, and long life known as the White Tara. Yoshi Sogyal's power is that of the tiger Sita, or medicine of spirit tiger. Her presence in a reading indicates that a boldness of spirit and willingness to engage your challenges will create the path to inevitable success. She represents our ability to generate the spiritual power necessary to accomplish what needs to manifest for the greatest good. This oracle encourages you to call upon your higher spiritual guides for assistance. This empowers them to bring their light to the world through you and for you to grow in your own spiritual advancement too. My head's just tingling away for this. It's like, they're like, yeah, keep reading. Remember, enlightenment is a team effort with extraordinary individual players working together as one. You belong on such a team. Tiger skin is depicted in sacred iconography to represent fearless enlightenment that cuts through all obstacles. Deities such as Tara and her fierce emanation of Ekajati and her ferocious expression as the wrathful, protective feminine deity Palden Lamo in the wild Lord Shiva are often pictured wearing or seated upon tiger skins. And I'm just going to throw this in here because yesterday I pulled a card about the wife of Lord Shiva.
Wow.
and I don't know how I missed that when I read this because I read them every time I pull the cards. But I don't know how I missed that. But the card, the where I opened to yesterday was the wife of Shiva, which was really interesting. This represents the indomitable that will conquer indomitable will that conquers negativities because it refuses to be overcome. Numerous divine beings are depicted moving through the world with the tiger as their sacred mount, enabling them to accomplish their spiritual purpose. The tiger is a symbol for navigating treacherous territory and the triumph of light over darkness. Tiger spirit medicine can control the poisons of anger and hatred, transforming them into passion, clarity, and unwavering commitment to one's higher purpose. The Oracle of Yashi Sogyal 333 augurs empowerment and healing by assuming a confident attitude and taking steps forward. It indicates that a negative time is drawing to a close and encourages commitment to the task of overcoming negativities through spiritual practices suited to you. It doesn't matter if you feel like a beginner or uncertain of how to meditate. For example, Yeshi Sogyal became enlightened because she made progress one step at a time, attracting the right teachers and guides to assist her. You have the precious gift of such a path. It is a good karma to have such a path, and it creates further good karma when you pursue it. The repeated 3 symbolizes that all manner of assistance and support will be granted to ensure your attainment. This will include gifts of appropriate teachings and teachers, friends, healers, synchronicity, circumstance, and opportunity. Trust the universe and go for what you want with boldness and courage. Finally, this oracle indicates triumph over the most severely negative energies, with the help of supernatural intervention if needs be. To activate that blessing, to be determined to prevail, fully empower the beneficial workings of the light in your life and in our world. Truly, you are a light worker. Embrace it and live it.
Wow. That's really, really cool.
Right?
I
So
really like that.
it comes with a healing. So it says, be seated somewhere comfortable. If you are a visual person, follow the visualization below, allowing the symbols to enter your soul without having to analyze or interpret them. If you're more of a feeling person, read the description below out loud, noticing any emotions or sensations that arise as you do so, and allowing them to soak into your soul without needing to analyze or interpret them. Prepare yourself, connect consciously with your breath as it flows in and out. Allow the breath to become deeper and more complete, calming and entering and centering you in the present moment. You may place a hand over your heart or connect with your soul's essence. Relax, become receptive at your soul level, open and willing to take in symbolic nourishment to empower, protect, and heal you. And now, visualize or feel the following description. You see a brilliant white sun. It shines radiant white light through continually shifting mandalas of sacred geometry patterns. Waves of light move through you, slow, deep, and healing. Out of the most luminous center of the sun, a solar tiger of white light stalks forth. You see the numbers 333 emblazoned above her. Light continues to amplify itself, reaching far and wide into every dimension. There is no barrier that can withstand it. The waves of light continue to move through you, slowly, powerfully, and deeply. Rest in this energy, breathing it in, feeling it surround you, going through you in every which way, soaking into the depths of your soul. Take another deep breath in, activate the ground and release. And when you feel complete, you can open your eyes. And they suggest drinking a lot of water after that. And I instantly feel like really thirsty.
You said water. I'm like, ooh, water. I haven't had water yet today. Only my
Yeah.
matcha.
That's so funny that I said matcha. Enjoy your
I
$7
know.
matcha. That's so
I'm
funny.
like, in my head, I'm like, well, I don't buy it. I make my
You
own,
make it.
but
I can't. Yeah,
okay.
like what? Yeah,
Starbucks
probably.
does have a really, really good lavender oat milk matcha, which I absolutely love. But
That's so funny. My friend Jane, she makes all that kind of stuff for me when I get to see her.
yeah, I make it's kind of was inspired by my daughter, but I make an oat milk lavender matcha.
That's
So I literally buy like straight up lavender leaves and then kind of boil the water and then I strain it and then pour the water in so it has the essence of the lavender without the actual with matcha and oat milk and stuff. It's actually really good. I stopped
sounds
drinking
delicious.
coffee because I started matcha and I
Yeah, I
don't
don't drink a
even
lot of coffee. No, not anymore. But I've loved matcha for so
me neither.
long.
See, I haven't. I remember like a cousin of mine, like probably like 5 years ago, was like matcha, and I'm like, what are we talking about? What did you say? And then I tried it, and I was like, not a fan. But lately, like I said, I got into it, and it's just finding different ones and ways I like it and stuff like that. But that's really
Right.
cool that we called in the tiger because I like had so I journaled this morning and every now and again I'll go back and I like just a page that like calls to me that I'd written in. And I was going back and I was like, I had actually forgotten that I was actually doing like a shamanic journey like almost every day. Like I had like literally reading it. I was like, who was doing this? What was happening? Because I genuinely, because looking back, I'm like, oh, I didn't really do it very often. And like each time, it would be like every single day. And it was very vivid. And animals were present and there was messages and like every single time. And I'm like, what? And I just like I had literally forgotten. I was like, oh my gosh, because they like I would just think like, doubt myself. I'm like, oh, well, I didn't do that very much. Oh, well, I didn't hear messages. Oh, it wasn't clear. Oh, I don't know. And then looking back and reading it, and I'm like, "Oh my God, it was so clear, like written out, and it was so clear." And I maybe don't remember the journey itself, but like I was like, "Wow!" Like that was it was just really wild.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then this morning, I was messaging with somebody about some cats, and then like she sent a picture, and I immediately was like, I got the feeling, I was like, "Oh, well, dropping her cats off with you, her kittens off with you because she feels safe, and she's like, she's so glad that she found you because now she can finally leave them with you because she knows they'll be cared for. Like it just came through, and I was like, what was that? What just happened? Like, because I don't know. It was just interesting, and yeah, I don't know, but the whole like allowing and letting and surrendering thing like really, really calls to me because so yesterday I joined a psychic practice circle. So in this one group that I'm in, they only do it once a month. And I was like, well, I'm going to join. So I go to join and they were having to get like through the Meetup app, there's a lot of people, like 40 people or whatever. And so they were having to get rid of like some spammers because people come in and they type in derogatory stuff and like whatever, whatever. And they catch it really quickly and they're like, oh, we gotta, And then they're like, well, we're gonna lock the room so like no more people can come in the Zoom room. And then one of the admins was like, oh my gosh, she's like, somebody just joined and accidentally like kicked them out. Because once you're out and they lock the room, like you can't come back in. Anyway, so we're typing and she was talking about the different Clairs and she's like, if you're feeling in this, and she's like, type in the chat like if you have any tools. And I was like, I'm new to this. I don't know what I'm doing, right? Like laugh emoji. And she's like, that's perfect. Like if that's where you feel you're at, she's like, well, I'm gonna dive into that next. Boop. I get bumped from the group. And I was like, what just happened? I am 100% certain it was an accident.
Yeah.
But and I try to get back in, it's like unable. And I'm like, and at first I was like, once a month, and now a whole month, like, but it was the feeling of me thinking that was very light. Like in the past, it would have been gripping. Oh my God, maybe I should send an email. Right? And it was very light. And then I immediately it was like, okay, wasn't meant to be on that one today.
Yeah.
Like, don't know why, because I felt like I was meant to be on that one today.
There was
Like
something that was
it
going
was
to
very
come
ease and
through.
flow, but
There was probably something that was going to come through that would possibly, I would say that you're not ready for. That was
mm,
going to be, because everything in perfect timing, right? So if a piece of information was going to come through that was going to alter the way that you were shifting and thinking about something that your soul has created for you, it's not going to allow you to be present, even if it, even though it is something that, it's predominantly happening for you anyways and coming
yeah,
through for you anyways. So they're not going to, your soul is not going to allow you to be in a place that isn't quite right for you to learn and to have that different information to come through.
well, I just want
And
to say that the human part of me is annoyed. That's just annoying.
yeah, yeah, well, yeah,
I'm letting
exactly.
it go, and I did let it go, but I'm like, that's really annoying because
And this,
I
and
enjoyed doing those, and I actually learned a lot from the last practice circle that I was in. Like it was very, very helpful.
yeah,
Um, so, but
there's a lot of psychics that aren't on their spiritual journey, and sometimes I find that
oh
they
yeah.
can be very judgmental towards the spiritual journey, and that could have come through as well, because that's actually how
Hmm.
I ended up having, like, that's kind of like really what happened in with that one girl that I was talking about. It was that she got like judge completely judgmental and like totally bashed, like no, zero respect for the fact that like she and I completely said, I was like, hey, you may not be where I am at my journey. I'm like, but I'm not making up things in my head and like throwing them at you. I'm like, this is like law of attraction, law of assumption, like universal laws
Hmm.
on top of quantum science, neuroscience. I'm like, I'm not just taking spirituality and diving in and like forcing you to believe in something you don't believe in. I'm giving you the things that I have been through. I'm giving you through my experience, because I've been where she's at. I mean, I was a lot younger, but I mean, I worshiped the gods and I called on the gods, and I didn't know what I was doing at that time, and they interfered with my life in a big way. And
Yeah.
so I mean, I recognize how they were abusing their power in her not taking awareness of the fact that she is a divine soul in a human body, having a human experience with the power of a goddess of herself, as herself.
Yeah.
And when you are going to worship and allow beings to run your life, if that's a reality that you're creating for yourself, that's a reality you're going to get. So it's
Hmm.
being aware of that and being able to shift and realizing that our guides are can be even the gods and goddesses when you call them in as guides, not to run your life and pick your partners and to pick and to tell you what to do, but instead, like, what can make this next step easier? The person I ask, what am I meant to do next? I ask source and I ask my higher self, guides, what messages do you have for me today? Do you see anything outside
Hmm.
of myself that can make my next step a little bit easier? Or, like, or give me some
Yeah.
awareness, or, help me ground, or, and I utilize them to heal other people. There's definitely different ways in which to approach the beings that are around us, because they are ultimately other, beings with just as we are. So
Hmm.
they have ulterior motives if a lot is allowed to use them, like they
Hmm.
they have they're not above being dark
Yeah.
dark beings in somebody's lives. Like it's very interesting. Like it's just the construct again that we've given what the 3D is meant to look like and what is bad and what is good and what is right and what is wrong. That is
Mm-hmm.
all stuff that we were taught. So it's
Yeah.
again allowing that judgmental process to go. And yes, there's things like murder and all of those things that, you know, we look at as terrible, and people can do absolutely insane things. But who are we to judge? We don't know what led them up to that. We don't know what their sole agreement was to put them into a position where they wanted to experience and try and help break free of each experience that we are here for. And if you look at it as you're going to be put in that same role that you could go one way or the other, you know, you may have got it right and not actually, you know, gone down the path of being a serial killer or whatever. But you know, like we experience life in every single way throughout different lifetimes. So
Yeah,
um
100%.
yeah.
How do you two play together? Okay. Sorry.
That's not good.
Ah, my kids. Summer.
Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
no, 100%. And that's why, yeah. And
Mhm.
it's interesting that you said like, you know, because I knew immediately that I was like, well, maybe I'm not meant to be in this for some reason. Didn't know what it was, but I mean that makes sense. Because not yeah, because like not all spiritual people are aligned with, you know, the
With their
same
gifts,
things.
and not all people that experience their gifts are aligned with their soul's purpose.
Yeah, they're
And that's
still in
the
lack and they're still in anger and all these other things.
yeah,
But
they
they
may
just
have
happen to
the
have these gifts. So it's
yeah,
like, okay. And I don't think it was the people that was hosting it. I think it might have been people that had
the-
joined. Because I
yeah.
know I had joined one. I think I had told you about it. This is a while
Yeah.
ago, and he wanted a this guy wanted a reading. And then so she did. That's what the call was about. And then he was like pissed. And
Mm.
he's like, um, I'm tired of my guides or whatever and like the bullshit they tell me, and I'm tired of this and I'm tired of that. And she like just cut him off and was like, okay, look, I totally get where you're at. However, you came here asking for a reading. If you're getting that triggered and you're that angry, don't ask for readings. Like, and he
Yeah.
wasn't mad at her, but like whatever. And so I was just like, but because of that energy, and this is way before like I understood where I'm at now. But because of that, I was like, whoa. Because I felt it. Like I felt his
Mhm.
energy and everything else. So it was like, but
Yeah, and once you really get into, and that's where like with the tools that I've shared with you, the grounding, you know, allowing yourself to just release
yeah.
any energy around you, making sure that you're staying in your grounding, and you do that more, like you will feel the energy, but you won't feel the energy. You'll
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
sense the energy, not absorb the energy.
Yeah,
So the more
100%.
you stay grounded and feel into that grounding, and again, I know that's another thing that I'm feeling like I can feel the energy barrier around me. Whereas before I recognized it because, of course, I wasn't absorbing the noise. I can tell when it's gone because I get this whoosh, 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 whoosh. Sounds like my heart's like beating, but my pulse is normal and my heart blood pressure is fine. So I just recognize that I ground, and then the whoosh, 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 whoosh is gone. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's good. I like that. So like I'm recognizing when I'm letting so much more in. I felt that energy push.
It was like, ew.
Oh, we just made the
I
whole
was,
world yawn. Just so you know, like when we post this on
oh,
YouTube, you
I'm
know how many
sure.
people are gonna yawn it?
I was like, what do you mean? Yeah, that makes sense. Oh
Yeah,
man,
so
there's another like literal logical example of like a energy. Because everybody, even nowhere aware, nowhere spiritual whatsoever, they all know the thing about a yawn. Everybody, right? Like everybody.
yeah. The same
And
as
so,
sneezes.
yeah, yeah. And so, but it's like that's just another example of, right?
Mhm.
Like the energy. That's
And I think those
interesting.
were kind of ways that our ancestors had hidden, like you know, because there was a point in time where yes, the there wasn't so much fear mongering. There wasn't there was still a level of being that didn't have the mental programming that we're faced with today with TV,
Mm-hmm.
science, everything that has kind of come forth. So that, that's where people were getting burned as witches. That's where they were getting stoned, like that lifetime, because they still didn't have that divide. They knew that they were connected to source. They knew that their gifts are powerful and real. And that's when those people started getting burned at the stake, because if everybody realized that they were all that powerful, then how could we be led? How could we be forced
Yeah.
to construct a world the way that somebody seen us do it? If we can create our own lives and run our own way and do our own thing. And so there was points in reality and in in life where we've always recognized who we are and what we are, and how this works. There was no fear of death. There was no fear of being different or whatever. There was, as people started to get burnt, and then you started hiding that stuff. But there was
Yeah.
little triggers, there was little hints, there was little things put into, bless you, you know, put
Mm-hmm.
into
Mm-hmm.
the yawn, the
Yeah.
belief behind a yawn, and then releasing that heavier energy and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
of course they turned it into science of
Oh, oh
your
gosh.
brain needs more oxygen or whatever, you're tired, so
Yeah.
you yawn. But really, it's, here we go again. Okay, it's literally the release of that heavier negative energy. Like my one teacher, Jen, I'll just say this before we end this recording, but she would whenever she's doing healings, like through our classes and stuff like that, she'll get to a point. There's some of them ones where she would do the aura readings and the you know um the elevate and the clearing of the energies, and she would just start yawning, and she's like, wow, we are moving some energy today. So
Yeah.
like I don't fight those yawns, and that's why whenever I'm doing like recodes or doing readings or healings in any ways, if my eye will start to tear, and I'll be like, if my eye is tearing, that means whoever I'm working with isn't allowing that release. So then I'm like, okay, I'm like, I can release this for you, but it's not going to do the same type of work. So let that tear
Y-
fly.
You know what's really interesting that you said that, because earlier I was like, I'm sure you noticed. I kept rubbing my eyes. And then before that, like I just literally like it was just like tearing up. And not like an emotional way. It just like literally like that, and I just kept,
Yeah.
and I think I've done this before, but this is the first time that I've noticed it. And I think even because I'm getting a feeling that I do this somewhere else, but I'm not sure where now. Actually, I think it's on the podcast that I do. Like I'm constantly
Okay.
like that, or like rub my eye or something, like my eyes itchy, whatever, whatever. This is really interesting because I'm just now noticing it. Because I don't do it through the day. I haven't been yawning at all today.
Not until
Until
now.
just now.
See, and this is the interesting thing too, because in the fact that we are going to post this, we did a healing within it. You are
Yeah.
recognizing the energies of the people that are actually going to come into this and start watching this and make it all the way through. And like that's going to be like, there's, watch this one. There's I'm going to actually post about the fact that there's a healing that takes place in this video. So
Mm,
you may be reacting like, because like I said, my eye just teared or whatever, and
yeah.
again the yawns. So the people that are, there's going to be people that are actually touched and actually accept, because like
Mm,
I don't do that, just I don't just read the card, I put my energy, my intention, like everything
yeah.
that I say is said with intention. So like that healing is there for anybody to watch, that feels that they want to take part in that healing. And
Mm-hmm.
so I feel like sometimes when you get those reactions, especially since we're still in the space, that your body's actually like, oh yeah, there's already, because it goes through time and space. Just because I haven't posted it yesterday, there is a it's already posted. Time isn't
Yeah.
linear, so it's already recognizing the energies
Oh
of the
God.
people that are seeing it. And again, that actually takes me back to the knowing that it is done, and the knowing that I am being seen, and that my energy is calling people in. Because if we're still yawning and we're
Yeah.
still hearing,
Oh my
then
gosh.
that just is just another acknowledgement that, the healing is taking place through time and space, which means there is people being called into that energy. So Very cool stuff.
100%.
I love all
But
this.
this, yeah, and I'm really grateful this kid that this came up because I did. It wasn't until the second time I rubbed my eyes and that I was like aware that I was rubbing my eyes,
Yeah.
and I was like, wait a minute, like, and then I kept, yeah, the teary, and then also the sneeze that reminded me last night. So I'd actually done a shamanic healing with a shamanic practitioner, hmm, probably about a year ago, and she was saying that that sneezing is a release, right? And so we know this scientifically and like physically, but like she's like actual like energetically as well. And I was like, okay, cool, because the better part of my life in the past, I had allergies and I was always sneezing and stuff. That's not the case anymore. However, last night after I was talking about, it was like an emotional, right? Like I was up in here and I was crying and there was this and that, blah, blah, and then I sneezed, and it wasn't like, anything outside, and I sneezed, and it was like I actually felt like a shift, and I'm like, "Whoa." I was like, "That was wild." Right?
Right?
Like, it was just one sneeze, but it was, and it wasn't just a physical thing of like,
No,
it was
the
physical.
energy
It
behind it.
actually was physical partly. Like, it was physical of, like, a chew and then, like, release, but and I don't mean that in a like, a gross way, right?
Yeah,
Like, there wasn't,
yeah.
but I'm,
I
like,
just picture like a
physically.
huge like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, no. You could see it on the wall. No, I'm just kidding. But like it was like I felt the physical sensation in my body, but then also like the emotional energetics of it.
of letting go.
And like that was really wild because like I said, my whole life I always, and it was just, and it was like continuously achoo, and,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
there
I'm
was points in
like,
my life definitely. Snow mold that still gets me, but
yeah.
all right, I'm just gonna hit the stop button. So thank you for watching, everybody.